Accruals and prepayments. Now let's see what these are. Accrual. Accrual is the amount which is due within the accounting period and which has not yet been paid. That is, amount is owed. Now, when preparing the statement of financial position, these are collectively known as other payables. And accrual is also known as arrears. Okay. Now let's see what is prepayment. Prepayment is the payments made by a business in advance. This is very important and crucial. In advance of the benefits to be derived from them. When preparing the statement of financial position, these are collectively known as other receivables. And the prepayment is also known as prepaid in short. Now let's see further. Now the accrual and prepayment account can be both in terms of income and or expense. So let's see how to record these in an account. Okay, so it can be accrued income, accrued expense, and prepaid income and prepaid expense. Now, one good news is that if you notice the income in the income account and in the expense account, okay, so the debit of the income side, the format is the same as the credit side of the expense account, and the credit side of the income account is the copy of the debit side expense account. This does not mean that the amounts are same, obviously, it's just that the format is the same. Okay, so what this means is that you only have to remember either one of the accounts and then just do a 180-degree, write the same thing on the opposite side, and there you'll have the other account. Now let's see these accounts in detail. In the debit side, you have opening accrued balance. This is the income, okay? So accrued income, the opening balance of that will come in the debit side, and in the opposite side will be the closing accrued balance. Now remember in this way only, okay, as I'm saying. Then the prepaid balance account will be on the credit side, that is the opening one, and the closing of that will be on the opposite side. So if you see, you just have to remember this opening balances, whether it comes on debit or credit. And then you will have other two balances that will be on the opposite side of each other. So you have remembered 4 parts of the format till now by just remembering 2. Then this is one thing that you will need to remember is that the cash bank will come on the credit side in case of income, and then you'll have to total it out. After totaling, the balance amount in the income account will be carried forward to the income statement. Now let's see in case of expense. In case of the expense account, that is the complete 180 degrees of the income statement, the opening prepaid balance will come on the debit side. Then the opposite of that, closing prepaid on the credit side. Then the opening accrued balance on the credit side. And then in the opposite bottom, closing accrued balance on the debit side. Then cash and bank will be on the debit side as per the 3 rules which we have seen, and the balance after totaling and everything, the balance will go to income statement, which will be written on the credit side. Now let's see the treatment of accruals and prepayment. Now one thing before that I want to tell you is these balances will be given to you in the trial balance in the question. So there are 2 methods to adjust that or to work on that. That is, the method 1 is that you adjust it in the trial balance itself. Okay, now how will you adjust it? We'll see the treatment further. I'll explain you that. But the option is either you do those treatments in the trial balance itself and directly write the final figure in the statements, that is your final accounts, income statement, or the other method is that you show a whole working note, okay, with opening and then the treatment and then the closing, by making those accounts that we saw in the first one earlier in the video, and then write those figures. In the first method, just to be clear, it was just other than making the account, just doing the plus minus part, and the second method is making the whole account in the working note and then writing those figures. Both are acceptable as per Cambridge, but the preferable method is the method 2, I would say, so that you make the least amount of errors. Okay, now let's see the treatment of accruals and prepayments. Now the item, let's see for accrued expense. For accrued expense, you will have to add it to the expense amount in the trial balance. For example, you have an unpaid electricity bill as an accrued expense, and the electricity has been consumed but not paid for. What that means is that, for example, let's take some amount. You have a bill of $1,000 and there has been $100 of unpaid amount, that is in arrears. So what you do is that add that 100 to the 1,000 which you would have written in the income statement expense side. So 1,000 plus 100, that is $1,100 in the income statement expense side. And in case of treatment in SOFP, that is statement of financial position. So in that, you show that amount. Now this amount will be that $100. Okay, so here you are adding that $100 to the $1,000, and here you are writing that $100 in the other payables under the heading of current liabilities in the statement of financial position. Now next, prepaid expense. The amount of the prepaid expense here you will have to deduct from the expense amount. That is, in case the same example, let's take the $100 in that electricity bill is prepaid, for example. The treatment that we'll do is $1,000 minus $100, okay, in the income statement expense side. And in case of statement of financial position, you just write that $100 in the other receivable heading under the current assets in the statement of financial position. Now let's see for accrued income. This again you'll have to add it to the income amount, okay, to the trial balance. Here we did it to the expense amount, here we'll add it to the income amount because the accrued balance is an income. And in case of statement of financial position, you'll show it in other receivable in the current assets. In case of prepaid income, you'll deduct it from the income amount in the trial balance and you'll show it under other payable under current liabilities heading in the statement of financial position. Now one thing, there are a lot of chances that you may get confused between this treatment, what to add, what to deduct. So just make sure that you practice a lot and you don't get confused between them because it is a very scoring and easy topic. Thank you.